In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use MuViSS to segment a backbone, subcutaneous and visceral fat and muscle areas, and then to extract also regions within these areas that are in a range of intensity that you can define as an input. So in the previous video, we show how to install Fiji, how to download Fiji, and then to install the plugins that we'll need, which are CSBDeep and MorphoLibJ. And let's say I want to process the images that I have in this folder. So in this folder, I have 11 images, which are L3-CT scans. As you can see, these are TIFF images, but that could work with DICOM images as well. Fiji can open DICOM images, it's not a problem. So let's say I want to process these 11 images. First thing I need to do is to actually download the macros that were run for MuViSS. So let me go on a web browser, and I'm going to go on my GitHub page. So to do that, you can type in tpcat, which is my name on GitHub, and then GitHub. And you'll find a link to a GitHub webpage for tpcat. If you go there, you have access to so quite some repositories, but if you want to have access to all repositories, you can just click on repositories, and then you have to look for MuViSS. So here it's the first one. Might not be the first one, it depends on the actual changes that are made on these repositories. So the last changes I made were for MuViSS, but that might change in the future. So if it doesn't appear here as the first one, you can just look in all these different links and try to look for MuViSS here. And we're gonna download the macros that are here. So MuViSS is to use the deep learning model, the UNet model, to segment the areas and then do all the computations. If you already have your segmentation, you can use the second macro. So I'll show you in a different tutorial. So here I'm gonna download everything. So I can go to code and download zip, and it's gonna download everything. So there's not much, so it goes pretty fast. We also need to download the model that was trained to segment these images, and this model is available here. So you can just click on this address, and then you have access to Zenodo and the MuViSS model. And if I go down, this is what I want to download. So if I can click on it, or I can directly do download, and that's going to download the model that I need to segment my images. So here I'm going to speed up the video so you don't have to wait for the entire downloading time. Alright, download is down. So I'm going to open my downloading folder. So if I go to downloads, it's going to be here. I have the model, I'm going to put it on the desktop, and I have the GitHub page that is here. So the model is going to keep, it's going to be a zip file. We have to keep it that way because that's the format that's used for CSBDeep, the plugin that's going to run the model in Fiji. But here I need to unzip it, so I'm going to unzip it here. I can then remove this, and if I go there, I have what I had on the GitHub page. And what is important for us is that we can actually use these macros. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this macro with Fiji, and the simplest way to do it is just to drag and drop the file in Fiji, and then you have the macro file that opens. So here is the code that's used by Fiji to run everything we need. I'm not going to show you in details because here the idea is that you don't have to understand all of this. What you need to understand is just how to use it. So you can go to run here and then run the macro with this command, or here. So maybe when you open it, it's this is hidden, but if you click in here, then you're gonna have this run. So you can hit run button, and now you have all the parameters for. So first thing is the input directory for scans. That's where your CT scans are. So I told you I want to process these images, so I'm gonna select this folder. You can browse it. I'm gonna go on my desktop here, and I'm gonna select the folder which is called images to process, and that way I'm gonna process all these images. Then I'm gonna select the model that is here. So the input deep learning model for segmentation, which is UNet MuViSS.zip, the one that we downloaded from Zenodo. So I'm gonna go, so hit browse, go on my desktop and select the model here. So it's well selected, and then I need to define an output directory where I'm gonna have so outputs for each image. So here I can go on browse, I want to put it on desktop, and I can create a directory directly from here that I'm gonna call output, for example. All right, and then here you have the different ranges of intensity to define the muscle, the fat, the visceral fat, and subcutaneous fat. So in the study we decided to use muscle, so intensity boundaries for muscle from -29 to 150, and for fat from -190 to -30. And we use the same ranges of intensity for both visceral and subcutaneous fat. All right, so when everything is set up, now we can run the macro. So I'm going to hit OK. As you can see, it opens an image, then it opens CSV deep to do the segmentation. Segmentation is down, then you have lots of post-processing. So that's when you have images that open and close. We extract the data, so the data we need, and then we go to the next image. So as you can see, it's pretty fast, take about maybe 5 to 10 seconds per image, and then goes to the next. So I'm gonna speed up video so you don't have to wait for the entire processing time. All right, it's down. So now we can go in the output directory, and as you can see, so there's an image that is generated as an output, so you can actually visually inspect if the segmentation went wrong or not. So we can see here that we have the muscle here, we have the backbone here, and then we have visceral fat and subcutaneous fat. At least that corresponds to different areas, and then you can check for the different images. So you can actually visualize if there was problems or not. If there was problem, at least a major problem, then you can manually segment your image and process again the macro. So in that case, you would use the other macro, and I'll show you in another tutorial how you can do this. So here is just to show you that you can visually inspect the results, and you have one file with the results. And so here, my Excel is not set up with comma separated files, so I can actually do it here. If I go there, and then it's in data and convert, and then I'm just going to tell Excel that here we have comma separated columns. All right, as you can see here, you have the input name, so the name of your image, the muscle area, the visceral area, and the subcutaneous fat area defined with the thresholds you gave as input to the macro.